this topic, divorce. And I want to talk specifically today to the woman. Before I start, I want to tell you that marriage is for better, for worse. When you take your vows, you say you will live together till death do you part. But what do we notice today? Especially amongst women, they easily get fed up. They give all type of complaints about a man. This man I married doesn't love me anymore. This man goes out there. This man doesn't give money for feeding. This man nerves me. This man, all the time we are complaining. What is happening that you become so fed up? What is happening that same husband that was your aspiration, that you said, if I don't marry this one, life is not gonna be comfortable again. But today you become so worried and you said the only best thing is to quit. Remember, quitters never win. I want to tell you today, whatever circumstance you're going through, whatever problem you're going through with your husband, that you have begun to look out there. You have begun to look other men that are talking to you. You have begun to look at their finances. You have begun to look how comfortable they are and the fact that they are talking to you. And you begin to look and you think that happiness is out there. I want to tell you today, to women, you have failed. Men are the same. No family has a very comfortable life without some hitches. There must be some problems. There must be some issues. But every relationship is built on tolerance. Every relationship is built on tolerance. You must be able to forgive that person. For I tell you the truth, the best husband you will ever have is right there. The best husband that you have is the one you have right now, not the one you are aspiring for, not the one that you think that you will get in out there. You always look, women always think that because many men love them, many men talk to them, many men are smiling with them out there. When they get divorced here, tomorrow someone is gonna pick you. I tell you, you failed, because the same problems you find in this man today, you will find them tomorrow. The same issues you face today, you will face them tomorrow, because you will never know somebody so perfectly until you go so close to the person. That man that you think that is your swan today can become your crow tomorrow. The man that is in your home today that you complain too much about, you speak so much against, I want to tell you something. It is because you have failed. If you look at that same man, you will understand that that man has something that you saw in him before you got into him. What has happened that you're complaining so much? If you have discovered some faults, it is for you to change that man. You can change the person. It can only be your weakness if you start complaining about that person, especially saying it to other people outside. It is your duty to change the man, because any man that doesn't change for good when you came into his life, that failure is in you. When I look at a man and I see failure, when he has a wife, I look at that woman to be the failure. Because you can actually change a man's weaknesses into being a strength. You can take all his weaknesses and turn them into strengths. It is possible. A woman, when it comes into a man, brings change, brings a revelation, brings a 90-degree turnaround. What is your own situation? What will you say? But I want to tell you something from the Bible, because I do not want to talk so much on my power, but I want to let you know that Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 to 10, Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 to 10, and I read it. Two are better off than one, because together they can work more effectively. Remember, it said together they can work more effectively. Go to the fact of strengthening other. It says in verse 10, it says, if one of them falls down, the other can help him up. But if someone is alone and falls, it's just too bad, because there is no one to help him. It is your position to help that man in the failures he is having. It is your position, it is your duty to help to strengthen that man. It is not your duty to leave him. It is not your duty to quit, because you will always quit. When you leave and run, you will always leave to run again. By the time before it is 4 years, you will discover that you have gone over 4 men, and then you will stand and watch your life frustrated. You will see your life frustrated. When the society starts talking about you, and you will say gossiping, they are gossiping. But you gave that chance because you have been jumping from one man to the other. You can't settle. Please, it is time you go to what the Bible says. And let me tell you again from Proverbs 27 verse 17. Proverbs 27 verse 17 says, people learn from one another, just as iron sharpeneth iron. You have to learn from your husband. Your husband has to learn from you. You have to strengthen one another, because iron is used in sharpening iron. So you have to strengthen your husband. Your husband has to strengthen you. You cannot succeed on your own. Two are better than one. So what do you need in your relationship to make it work? In that problem you are facing, the first recommendation I will tell you today, women, is that tolerance is the key. Be able to tolerate, because the two that came together had different ways of behaving. The husband has his behavior. You had your behavior. You have things that you like and have things that you hate. Your husband has likewise. So to deal with one another is just to tolerate. The second thing is that avoid pride. Avoid pride. When you avoid pride, it will be very easy for you to say, I'm sorry. It will be very easy for you to say, please forgive me. I am wrong. I thought that my reasoning was the best, but you were right. That is when you give up pride, you're gonna see clearly. But when you have pride in you, your vision gonna be blurred, because you always think that you are right. You always think that your own opinion should count more than him. Secondly or thirdly, I want to tell you to remove that attitude of I don't care. I don't care, because when you say you don't care for the man who marries you, and then I don't know where you are leading to, because the Bible says in Proverbs 31 verse 10 to 12, Proverbs 31 verse 10 to 12, how hard it is to find a capable wife. She is worth far more than jewels. Her husband puts his confidence in her, and he will never be poor. As long as she lives, she does him good and never harm. If the Bible tells you this, and you are the same person that tells the person I don't care, the person who thought that he found the best thing when he found you, you tell him you don't care about him, then you have failed him, because the Bible says that a man puts his confidence in her. As long as he puts his confidence in you, he is safe. As long as you betray the person, he becomes poor. That is why it says in 11, verse 11, said, her husband puts his confidence in her, and he will never be poor. The moment you betray that confidence, the man becomes poor. Why does the man become poor? Because you have created that atmosphere for Satan to come in. Because when Satan wants to tempt you, when Satan wants to destroy a man or a woman, it enters the first institution, which is marriage. That blessing from God, it comes and causes marital problems. When the two of you are separate, it now finds its way to enter. It starts working on your finances. It starts working on your job. It starts working on your joy. It starts working in everything you have. That is why every marital home becomes worse off after divorce. You may think that you will be better when you go out there, but I'm telling you that you will meet the worst when you are out there, because you are now open. You are now under your own. The grace that the man was having upon you, the grace that the woman was having upon the man, is now separate. You are now on your own, and then that union that God has brought together with that grace that has been scattered, Satan now comes in because you are on your own. God's grace is not upon you. Be very careful. Be very watchful, because when you separate, It is a very high risk for you. That is the point. That is this first step of Satan to get into you, to scatter you. That is why if you go to very big ministries today, you will find out that the first problem they face is marital problems at home. When I find a ministry and I find a man struggling so much with a wife, I know Satan has entered. It wants to start from the home. When it starts from the home, it goes to your office, it goes to your finances, it goes into everything, it goes into your ministry. That is the trick of the enemy. And people will begin to quote you through your wife or through your husband that this man is separated and this. Those are the devices of the enemy. Be very watchful. Now, I continue to tell you that to have a good marital home, have respect for the husband. Respect him in every circumstance. When you respect him, he feels so happy. Furthermore, give that person a chance all the time. When the love is dying, rekindle it. When you seem to start having problems, it means love is dying. Rekindle it. Just like when the lamp is going down, you add fuel, you add kerosene, and the flame comes up. So rekindle your love with respect, with love, with emotional attachment, with a lot of laughter, with a lot of fun, and with a lot of sightseeing. Go out together, go to the beach, go to the church together, share a lot of word together. That is how you rekindle love, to avoid it dying down, and never leave any problem to go for the following day. Solve that problem that same day. Let me tell you something. That husband you get married to is the best you have. Go to Europe, go to the US, even back in Cameroon and in Africa, most women after 38 years are unmarried. Not because they were not married before, but because they have divorced, maybe after 1 or 2 children. And most of them are frustrated. Most of them start running from one church to the other because they've become frustrated because of the mistakes they make today. When you have a home and you are so happy there, suddenly you find the person, you start saying, I can't live with this person. His faults are just too much. Now, the person you're looking outside is the best you have seen now. But tomorrow, you start seeing the person to be another nightmare. You leave that one again for another one. It becomes a nightmare. There is no way you can lie to yourself, because when you start taking those men into consideration, you start going out with 1 or 2 or 3, you now give chance for gossips all around. That man who now takes you for a girlfriend, knowing that you had another man, is the first problem that you have. That man doesn't love you more than your husband. He is taking you because he is taking advantage of you. He has seen a weakness in you. He takes you. But remember, that man knows that you are bad. That man can never take you to the pulpit any longer. That man can never put you in his house any longer. He just discovers a fault in you and takes advantage. He too is digging his doom. You are now just a partner in crime. You are going into the crime together, but yet he would leave you too. Remember, it doesn't work like that, jumping from one man to the other. Even if you don't jump, the fact that you are alone brings a lot of opening. A respect you are lost. People talk to you anyhow. Some young men around come to talk to you because they think you are single. You have no backing, you have no cover. You start seeing life differently. The final point I want to let you know today, especially for those that have had children before separating, is that you're causing a nightmare into the lives of those children. The moment you decide to leave the father of your children is the day you start causing problems in the lives of those children too. Most children, when you interview them about the worst days of their life, They will tell you that it is the day that mommy was beaten by daddy, or the day that mommy decides to be so mouthy to daddy, the day they began to quarrel, and especially the day I saw mommy holding the bag and going, or the day mommy was holding me and leaving the daddy. That is their worst day. Let me tell you something. Whether you like it or not, those children you have today and you live differently have more problems than the children that grow with the father and the mother. They grow whole. But those that are separate grow the problem, because immediately they begin to be mature, the mother will start brainwashing the child. The father will want to make the child to also know that I love you more than your mother. Your mother was a problem, or your father was a problem. The child starts nursing problems and with confusion, because they hardly tell, the parents never tell them the truth, because they want favor from their children. It is bad. Go to the example of rats. A rat that gives birth and the mother is taken away from that rat. So the rat that never suckled the child, when that rat grows up, it can and has a child, it will never suckle it. It is research. It is research. It will never give breast milk to the younger rat, because it was never suckled. It grew like that. It is just like that. So it is the same with human beings. A child that never felt the fatherly love, never felt the motherly love, doesn't see any reason why the child should get married and remain in the home. The child that grew differently, with the mother different, father different, it happens even if they get married. It is just normal for them. It happens just automatically because they grew up with it and they find it easy to separate. Watch out, because your children should be your watchword to help them to love marriage and to marry and stay in their marital homes. It is for you to stay in your marital homes and tolerate, and it will be helpful for you to advise them tomorrow. Because what are you going to advise your child when she grows up and is married, when the child is in the marital home and having problems, when you were divorced? Watch out. Finally, brothers and sisters in the Lord, I want to tell you that before you got married to that husband, he was your best man. You saw the best things in him. Ask your life today. Ask yourself, what has happened? No matter what he does, you find a fault. No matter what she does, you find a fault. There is something invisible that you cannot see. Go back to God, because most of those problems are spiritual. When you finally see that you are doing everything and you can't find a solution, it is everything he does just seems to be a problem to you. You don't see anything good in him. Sit, watch your life, go for God, for deliverance. Because it might be a spiritual husband, it might be a spiritual wife, it might be the enemy wants to scatter that union so that it will find a way to scatter your life. The moment you give in to Satan, you give in to many more problems that it is coming. You think you solve this problem, the real problem is coming. So I urge you, get to the root of the matter and find out what is happening that I can't live together. What is happening that we are not happy the way we used to be? When you ask those questions, you would go and make it straight with the man, or you will go for deliverance or spiritual uplift. We need it. When it is seen to failing, go to God. Go to that person. Go in for prayers. Go in for counseling. Above all, pray at all times, because marriage is for better and for worse. And remember that when you get married, especially for men, the Bible says that when you find a wife, you found a good thing and you obtain favor from God. It means that immediately you get divorced, you obtain this favor from God. Either you are having a blessing or you are having a curse. So either you are having favor or you are disfavored. The moment you divorce, you obtain disfavor. It happens on the two sides, both the wife and the husband. And you are now creating a vacuum for Satan to come in and destroy your lives with disfavor. Watch out and live in union with one another till death do you part. As you promised when you got to that pulpit on the day of your marriage, even in the courts, you said death do us part, but better for worse. Live by it and you will have a blessed life in Jesus' mighty name. Be blessed until we share another word again. Never you forget to like my page for many more updates about things that we share in order to uplift your spiritual life. Thank you.